improving vertical garden structures by implementing a water retention system. This is an unedited picture of Mexico City. According to the World Health Organization, it is the fourth most polluted city in the whole world because of the smog that covers it. There are 6 common air pollutants: nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, sulfur oxides, particulate matter, lead, and ground-level ozone. These pollutants are mainly emitted by factories and motor vehicles. Mexico City also suffers from flooding due to improper trash disposal procedures. After the closure of the most important landfill in Mexico City, Bordo Poniente, the 12,000 tons of trash that it received each day were now thrown away in smaller local landfills and the streets. This is a big problem because when it rains, all of that trash will go to the sewers and clog the pipelines. And when it rains again, the water does not have anywhere else to go but to the streets, causing the streets to flood. There have been several projects to improve the air quality in Mexico City. One of them are federal grants given to families to build their own rooftop gardens. There are some private organizations too that have worked to solve this issue, and one of them is VerdeMex. However, the plants in these vertical garden structures are positioned in the way that they are not receiving enough sunlight or enough water to maintain them. Therefore, the plants die pretty easily. This is why I decided to do a science near project that would improve these vertical garden structures. My hypothesis was that by altering the structure of the garden, there will be more water retained, which will provide enough water to maintain certain plants without killing them. I started my experiment by picking an existing vertical structure and 2 methods for water retention. The vertical structure that I chose was a wooden pallet because it's a recyclable material. And for my water retention systems, I decided to work with the rain chain and the self-watering needle system. Then I built 3 wooden pallets. I used one of them for my control group, and I built 2 water retention systems inside the other 2 of the wooden pallets. I placed the structures inside 3 plastic fish tanks in order to be able to control the environment, and I added soil. I inserted the plants in each of the structures, and I built a water stopping system to avoid overflowing. My self-watering needle system consisted of having needles that would be placed inside the wooden pallet. The needles had tails that would be connected to the water reservoir. So the idea was that once the water was placed into the water reservoir, the plants will suck the water from it as they needed thanks to the structure of the needle. My irrigation tubing structure consisted of having a water reservoir on top of the wooden pallet. These water reservoirs will have hoses that would go through them and go inside the wooden pallet. The idea was that basically these hoses would serve as a guideway for the water to go inside the garden and not spill directly into the floor. The final steps for my process were to introduce common air pollutants into the 3 environments. In this case, I only chose to introduce carbon dioxide. I will measure the air quality with a light sensor, insert a gallon of water into the structures, measure the air quality with a light sensor again, and the amount of water that it was retained at the end of each trial. And finally, I will measure the sediment that it was released by the structures. My experiment lasted for a period of 20 days, and here were my results.
For water retention system, all of my experimental setups absorb an average of 23% of the water that I put in them.
In terms of carbon dioxide levels, in my control group and my self-watering needle system, carbon dioxide levels increased as opposed to decrease at the end of each of the trials. However, this was not the same for the raindrop hose system. In the raindrop hose system graph, you can see that at the end of each trial, carbon dioxide levels decreased by an average of 21%. And with this, I decided that my raindrop hose system was my most successful structure. Thank you.